The adoption of the 30% women in Parliament has been done in the Sierra Leone Parliament. So we are now working on the youth. How many what's going to be the percentage that they are going to give to the youth for us to be represented in the House of Parliament? Because for the far too long now, after the Nigerian Civil War, it was not easy for you to be in the House of Parliament as far as Sierra Leone is concerned. But by the special grace of God, we have done so many work now. We are just 11% in the House of Parliament as youth. And that particular 11% we want to increase it by the next election coming next year so that we can have more youth in the House of Parliament. But we cannot do it without the support of people because we have to go and engage political party leaders.
The President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union IPU for Sierra Leone Parliament, Honorable Edward George, representing the people of Constituency 097 in the Moyamba District, has called on the Inter-Parliamentary Union to support them in advocating for more syllables to be awarded to young people in Sierra Leone to go to Parliament. He said 65% of the bulk of the voting population in Sierra Leone are young people and that they want to see how they can increase the current 11% representation of young members of Parliament of the correct composition of the Sierra Leone Parliament in the 2020 general elections. Speaking during the Forum of Young Parliamentarians meeting, the IPU President for Sierra Leone informed the Young Forum of MPs that following the last meeting held in Spain in 2021, they have made remarkable progress by engaging more young people in radio stations, television program discussions, schools and universities in their Yes We Can campaign in raising more awareness of the importance of youth representation in Parliament.
Africa is concerned. The way sometimes the elections take place in Africa is quite different from Europe. It's quite different from Asia. Africa elections, specifically West Africa, is very difficult for a youth to be in politics because of the dimension. But because we have this organization, Yes We Can, as I said, we have formed our group, we are working, we have engaged media people, media houses, we have engaged civil society, we have gone as far as going to universities to talk to our brothers and sisters so that they can come up for elections, because for them to say, I want to contest for member of parliament, it's very difficult as far as is concerned when you are below 30.
He disclosed that they now have a formidable youth organization of which he is the current president.
In politics, we get home again, and I want to inform you that Sierra Leone has a formidable youth organization which I'm the president of that particular group. We are working very seriously to Yes We Can as far as the adoption of economic pay. We very soon will be going to elections. Sierra Leone will be going to election next year. Election dates are now out for various political parties. But I want to inform this assembly that we have 60 political parties in Sierra Leone.
He pointed out that for far too long after the 11-year civil war in Sierra Leone, it was not easy for young people to be in the Sierra Leone Parliament. But however, he said, because of advocacy, they now have 11% representation of young people in the Sierra Leone Parliament.
How many what's going to be the percentage that they are going to give to the youth for us to be represented in the House of Parliament? Because for the far too long now, after the Nigerian Civil War, it was not easy for you to be in the House of Parliament as far as Sierra Leone is concerned. But by the special grace of God, we have done so many work now. We are just 11% in the House of Parliament as youth. And that particular 11% we want to increase it by the next election coming next year so that we can have more youth in the House of Parliament. But we cannot do it without the support of people because we have to go and engage political party leaders. If we only leave the election to take place, most of our guys, even some of us, the 11% that's present in the House of Parliament will not come back because of the way they are more symbols. But by engaging our political leaders, for them to tell us how are they going to send members to Parliament, what is going to be the quota, how are they going to...
He speaks more on the importance of the forum to young people.
Okay, so for this year, this is the 144 IPU Assembly in Indonesia. We are here today to adopt Yes We Can, and a project we undertook the last time at Spain. We are here today to endorse it, that yes, we need youth participation in the House of Parliament, and not only in the House of Parliament, but we actually need youth participation in politics. For some of us that are in Sierra Leone, we know for young members of Parliament to be in the House of Parliament, for young people to be in the House of Parliament is very difficult. So I'm asking the IPU delegations to actually support young people in Sierra Leone so that we can have more youth in the House of Parliament, so that they can go to Sierra Leone and engage political leaders that actually meaningful to the political arena of Sierra Leone. So the reason why I asked them to go down to engage political leaders that actually meaningful to the political arena of Sierra Leone. So the reason why I asked them to go down to Sierra Leone, next year we'll be having our elections. Because we are having our elections and we know how symbol giving is difficult in Sierra Leone, if actually they mean what we are here for, they need to go down to Sierra Leone to help us engage the political leaders so that youth participation in parliament or youth in parliament will be fruitful. If that happens, we'll be able to have a quota that will take members of young people to the House of Parliament. But if not, we know how difficult it is, we know how devastated it is, and we know how people take the youth as far as Sierra Leone is concerned. So we are asking the board members of the IPU for young parliamentarians to go down to Sierra Leone to help us with the support of World Bank and UNDP so that we'll have more youth in the House of Parliament come the next election. Yes, we can. They need to come down to Sierra Leone and support us, talk to political leaders, talk to our political party leaders so that they can see reason why we the youth must go to parliament, because in Sierra Leone when you are 18 years you are eligible to vote. Because you are eligible to vote, and I strongly believe that 55% to 60% of voters in that country are coming from the youth. So because I have that strong belief, that's why I want my colleagues to be voted for to go to the House of Parliament. So I'm still asking the IPU board members to come down to Sierra Leone to assist us, to help us talk to our political leaders so that we next election coming, the next year election coming, we'll have more youth in the House of Parliament.
Honorable Vicky Adisowa Masiko, a member of the Forum of Young Parliamentarians from South Africa, also explained to Beyond Borders the need for young people to be in Parliament.
National Assembly of the South African Parliament. I am the whip for the Committee of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. I'm here in the 144th session of the IPU representing young people of my country, mainly young parliamentarians. It was a great experience to attend the Forum for Youth Parliamentarians, where we were able to learn best practices, international best practices, and how other countries are actually implementing the youth quotas to ensure the full participation of young people in Parliament. And that is quite good because it actually brings forward the actual voice of young people and persons who are able to pioneer and champion the interests of young people across the country. As we know that there's nothing about us without us, so it's very important to ensure that the voice of young people is brought forward in all the parliaments across the world.
Honorable Abdul Aziz Bangura also shares his experience and speaks on the importance of the forum to young people in politics.
Definitely, because some of us, like myself standing here, I'm a young member of parliament. It's very difficult in our days when we are trying to vie for these positions, and the older people are looking at us and think that we are too young to be member of parliament. But now the narrative has changed all over the world. For me, I think it's a laudable initiative, and that is why today we are here, and I have been a beneficiary of such a project. I've advocated on our behalf, and I also want to say I'm 100% in support of his advocacy, and I'm supporting him 24/7.
Sierra Leone Parliamentary delegation in attendance to 144 IPU assembly includes Honorable Dr. Abbas Cheno Bodo, Mohammed Lebi, Deputy Clerk of Parliament, Honorable Nene Lebi, Honorable Abdul Aziz Bangura, Honorable Musa Fofana, Honorable Edo George, Hanal Sanko, reporting for Beyond Borders Network Television in Nusa Dua, Bali, Indonesia. I am Mohammed Amaragando.